Oh yeah, stay tuned to the end. I'll go over how much I sold the motorcycle for, how much is sitting here in this cash right here.
Yikes.
Hey, buenos dias, que paso amigos, John's Moto Garage. As always, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a what would you do scenario. So I'm going to share what's wrong with the Harley Davidson VROD and go over 4 different options of recourse. And then I'll have you guys decide what would you do in this case. And then of course stay tuned to the end and I'll go over what I decided to do. You guys have probably been wondering what the heck, man, you've had this in the garage for quite some time and you don't ride it a whole lot. I meant to get out and do some decent rides on this, but by the time I got around to it, I noticed that the thing has a freaking coolant leak. So yeah, it's leaking coolant. I noticed, as you can see, I don't know how well you can see it, but this pink stuff here. Decent amount of coolant there. That's why I haven't been riding it. And whenever that type of thing happens, you got a couple options. One, you can tear into it, fix it yourself. 2, you can take it to the shop, have them fix it. 3, you can hide it and act like nothing's going on, throw the bike up on Craigslist, thing runs great, and just hope that's not going to be leaking when somebody shows up. And then number 4, you can post the bike for sale as is, disclosing what the current condition is and what's going on with it. Now, of course, there's pros and cons to all of them. Number 1, if you try to go in and fix it yourself, may or may not be able to. For me, the big one is it's time consuming, and I'm just not a huge fan of doing all that wrenching. Number 2, take it to a shop, of course. It's hit or miss, how long it's going to be in the shop, how much it's going to cost, and then number 3, just hide it and try to get away with it as is. Personally, I can't do it. I'd rather just be honest and upfront about it. So you got option number 4, which is advertise the bike for sale as is. Now the big downside of that is you're going to have to make it appealing. In other words, you're going to have to price it well below market value, and whether or not you can do that and still make money all depends on how much you picked up the bike for. Anyway, can any of you try to guess what I decided to do? Did I A, repair it myself? Did I B, take it to shop and have them repair it? Did I C, decide to sell it as is without disclosing? Or D, decide to sell it as is with the post? Fortunately, in this case, I was able to price the bike well below market value. So I put the bike up for $7,300 or $7,200, but in the post I disclosed the issue with the motorcycle, and I said as is, I'm willing to take $6,300. The reason I do that is because psychologically, if somebody sees a post for $7,200 and clicks on it, that means it's more than likely that the $7,200 is within their budget. So you're filtering out right away some of the extreme lowballers. Then as they read through the post, they can see how the bike is. Obviously, they'll see that I'm at least disclosing the issue, so hopefully that's a cue to them that I'm trying to be honest and upfront about it. And then they see the discounted price, $1,000. So you've got a bike that's going to appeal to somebody who is mechanically inclined and or maybe knows somebody at it, or somebody who knows how to do it, and they can say, hey, worst case, this is a radiator. I can go and repair that myself, buy the part online, and I should be good to go. So, all right, I think by now you already know, obviously the bike's not fixed, and I kind of already told you. I'm deciding to sell it as is. And so I throw it up on Facebook Marketplace. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Craigslist charges $5 per ad now, so decided to try out Facebook Marketplace. Actually had a handful of people hit me up asking about it, the leak, what I knew about it, and same thing, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge expert when it comes to radiators, and I haven't torn into it yet. So I basically said, I know it's leaking, worst case, radiator, best case, hose clamp or something along those lines. But long story short, I had enough people hit me up. I had a guy come up from Tucson, look at it, super cool dude. He checked out the motorcycle, saw the leak, saw what it is. He decided he wanted the bike, and he's hitting me up and en route now to come take it off my hands. So yeah, there you have it, the Harley Davidson VROD. Sadly, that's why I didn't ride the bike a whole lot, and that's what happened with it, the coolant leak. Yeah, overall, a bit of a drag, you know? I mean, I got some good rides in on it, but like I said, as soon as I saw it was leaking coolant, it was like, oh, I'm not gonna mess with it at that point. Alright, also, I never went into it, but this is some other cool stuff that I got with this. Now, sometimes I would be like, you know, try to sell this stuff separate on the side. What else we got in here? Here we just have some of the stock stuff, the original dipstick, original grips, the awesome airbox cover bra. Cool bra. What do you guys think of these bras, man? It's like a sports bra for a performance cruiser. What else we got? The original mirrors. You know what? Oh, these super rad mirrors. I think I'm gonna keep some of this stuff. I'll give him the exhaust tips if he decides he wants those. These are the stock ones, of course. It's got fans and hind slip-ons. So obviously this is like the name of the game when it comes to buying any vehicle used, whether it be a motorcycle, a scooter, a car, a truck, whatever. There's always the risk you run of having an issue with the motorcycle. Over the years, I've learned to be able to really reduce that risk just with experience and trying to be very thorough. You know, check underneath for oil leaks and everything. You guys have seen me pass up on arguably awesome deals just because of like a little bit of oil. And so I'm usually pretty dang thorough and good with it. And so I don't know if maybe rock, you know, hit the radiator. Who knows? Lots of things could happen. I guess my takeaway point is you can actually learn a lot from these types of things. Fortunately, I bought this bike at a price point where even as is, while I'm not going to make anywhere near what I was hoping to make, I should still be able to make some profit. At some point I may release a video going over that, but that's not always the case. But over the years and all the bikes that I've bought and sold, there have only been a small handful. I can count on one hand the number where I took a hit or wasn't able to make money on the motorcycle. And that all comes down to really making sure you have that buffer, you know, enough room in your purchase price. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all my rambling for now, you guys, on the VROD. Otherwise, I love the bike. Dang coolant leak, man. Ugh, the worst, bro. All right, so there you have it. This is where the VROD was sitting. Yeah, I sold it. Now you're probably wondering, it was a 2012 Harley Davidson Night Rod, had 12,900 miles. At this point, you know it had the coolant leak, and I decided to sell it as is, not knowing if I'd have any hits or not, but I figured what the heck, it's not gonna hurt to throw it out there. Worst case, I end up getting it fixed and then we take care of it. But yeah, I ended up selling it, and I sold the bike for $6,200. So like I said, luckily I got the bike at a price point where I had a pretty big margin. The bike, without the coolant leak, I think easily could have gotten $700 to $7,500 for relatively fast sell, not one that's gonna be sitting there on the market forever. I think KBB trade-in on that motorcycle is $7,200, maybe a little bit higher, as high as up to 10,000 retail or thereabouts. But I see a lot of them in that 10K range that just sit and they don't sell. So I knew 7 to 8 would be the sweet spot. That was my target when I bought the bike. Of course, once the freaking coolant leak became an issue, at that point I knew worst case, entire radiator, $700 to $1,000 unless you do the work yourself. At best, it's a hose or a clamp, and you can fix that, and you're only out a couple bucks. So we sold it for $6,300, and at some point I may do a reveal how much I paid for the bike, but we're gonna leave it at that for now. John's Moto Garage. As always, thanks for the channel. As always, thanks for the support. If you dig the channel, like and subscribe. We'll hit you on the next one. Adios, hasta luego, nos vemos.